Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel where I like to share any and all things that bring me joy, hence the name Sharelation. Today I wanted to do a video dedicated to my 4 Goyard bags that I have owned for quite a bit of time now, so I rotated them through my collection quite a bit throughout the year. And I thought I'd talk a little bit more in detail in terms of some of the pros and cons that I see from my personal standpoint, and thought I would share it with you to see if it resonates for you. And if you were deciding on buying any of these bags, it might be something you would consider. So some of the pros. Now, as you know, these bags are not so easy to come by. You have to go to a store, line up, ask for a specific type of bag and the color combination to see if they have it. And if they do, you're lucky. And I think they have a quota where you can't buy like more than 2 bags at once or something like that. You can buy 1 bag and 1 accessory. And I think it's within the year. I don't really know the exact rule or I forgot. So there is some exclusivity to it, which you can see as a pro as well. Like, then it's not as common, although I do see many people in the city, in New York City, carrying it. So you take that with a grain of salt. So one thing that I kind of like is that these bags don't come with a box. I was only offered a dust bag that looked like this, and it's that signature yellow color from Goyard. That it came with this bag along with their green shopping bag, and that was it. In a way, it's a pro for me because I have like Hermes boxes, Chanel boxes, Louis Vuitton boxes, and it kind of all piles up and it's all nested together in my closet. In a way, it's nice because you just put this in a dust bag and you tuck it away in your closet, and that's that. So, you know, it depends on how you view it. It can be a pro or a con. To me, it's a bit of a pro because these bags are very casual. So that is more my lifestyle. They're very casual, so they tend to work for me. And in terms of the usage of it, it can be used every day for me because I don't really go to many fancy settings, and I can use this day to day. So in terms of the frequency of usage, it's quite high because of that. And I think it's very casual. If you accept this pattern for the monogram, then it works out great for you because it's just another version of a monogram kind of bag. So clearly I like it enough to have 4 different kinds. So the other thing I wanted to point out was that it is very easy to use. These bags don't have any fancy bells or whistles. So the hardware is very minimal. So in this case, the Plumet only has 1 little button closure. It does have a zipper, and these little, I don't know what to call it, these little balls that you can remove the strap and switch it to something else. So that's really minimal in terms of the hardware. And this one is even more minimal. It only has this kind of closure where you have to tuck the strap in to close it. And it has its pros and cons. I spoke about it when I revealed this bag. It's called the Belvedere. And the only other hardware is this adjustable buckle. In terms of the mini Anjou, it only has, actually the only hardware I think is on this little pouch that it comes with, the button closure and this removable piece. And that's about it. Yeah, there's no other hardware. And for the hobo bag, the Boheme bag, the only hardware is the zipper across the top, and again for the pouch here. So minimal hardware. So it's, I mean, there are pros and cons to that too, but it makes it lightweight. So that's the other pro. All of these are very lightweight, so you don't really need to, you don't have that burden of the weight of the bag to begin with. So that's another pro to me. The other pro I see is that for me, these can go with anything in my closet. I typically wear these kind of colors anyway, so it's easy to match my wardrobe and my lifestyle. So that's also why I started gravitating more towards this brand and getting more from their collection. And you know that I use this very often for work because it's one of those things where it's just easy and you can have it as a supplemental piece, because that's how I commute to work, is having a larger tote bag or a backpack, and I have my essentials with me on a little crossbody bag like this. So I knew that because of that, like these two were actually my first pieces from Goyard. As I was starting to use it, I realized that I use it quite often because it matches my lifestyle. So that's really important to know as well. So some of the cons that I'll talk about is the fact that you have to wait a lot at each Goyard location to hope that you can get the bag that you want. That's kind of annoying, but I guess that's part of their marketing strategy. Like, it's hard to get, therefore you want it even more. But it's one of those things you just have to know and have to accept. If you really want it, you have to wait in line and try to score one, or buy it secondhand, or buy it from a reseller. The other con I see is some of these bags, the interior is different. So for the Belvedere, for example, the flap here is leather lined, which I think is nice and luxurious because it has a good structure to it. It's not super super structured, but it has some form to it to make the shape. But inside is this yellow kind of, I think it's a cotton lined interior. And over time, I can see this might be able to get dirty every now and then, depending on what you put in it and how careful you are with using and maintaining your bag. I already noticed in the front pocket over here at the very corner, I don't know if you see it, there's a little dark colored like speck on the corner. I don't know what it was from, maybe because I typically put my Chanel card holder here. I wonder if it was that, but I didn't think the Chanel card holder can have color transfer, but I digress. But the main point is I feel like the interior can get dirty over time and over a lot of usage unless you really, really protect your items. I don't know if they have an insert made for this particular one, because these pockets can, bulge out, and I don't know how, I never looked for an organizer for this, to be honest. And the back pocket also has that yellow lining. But I suppose it's one of those things where when you use your things will get worn out and get dirty. That's just the fact of life, unless you're super careful and you're very meticulous in cleaning everything after, which I'm not really like that. This will happen. So, it's a con in a sense that the material they use can be prone to getting dirty. This is a leather lined interior, and it's actually reversible. I don't use it in the reverse side, but in this sense, I feel like it's easier to maintain because the leather interior, first, it's darker, and I would think it's easier to clean because if you got any like any markings on it, let's say you have like a compact and the foundation comes out a little bit, you can wipe it clean. And so in a sense that I like that this has the leather lining, because I feel like it will be easier to maintain and it will wear better over time. These two are canvas lined. Now I'll talk about both pieces because it's the same but yet it's different. You see here, this is the Boheme bag, and it's just one big open compartment. There are no pockets in the middle. Like, you typically have like a zip pocket or at least a slip pocket. There's none of that here. So to me, that's a little bit of a con because that's all you have. You have this extra pouch, which is tucked under this piece here. You cannot remove this strap. That's another con. And it's just one big giant hole, which, doesn't really bother me that much because you can have pouches, you can have this and that, you can have an organizer in here, which I do use. But the other thing that bothers me about this is you hear the sound. Now, this is not how I normally treat my bags, but when you're rummaging in and out through the bag, it can make some noise, so it kind of sounds cheap. That it sounds like one of those reusable shopping bags that you get from Whole Foods, not the canvas ones, but the plasticky ones, and it just feels, it also feels cheap because the only material is the canvas, the coated canvas. So on this side, it can easily get dirty as well. So far, so good, because I use an organizer, and the exterior is kind of like coated. So that's where the sound comes from. But it just feels like all they did was take a big piece of canvas and sewed it together to make the hobo style, and sewed a leather strap on it. And that's about it. So I do like the size and the shape and everything because it's very easy to use. You sling it across your body. It drapes quite nicely, but I wish the material wasn't as kind of stiff. And when you're carrying it around, it just feels like it's not very luxurious, if you know what I mean. I know a lot of people complain about it because it looks and feels cheap, not according to that price tag, but that's just Goyard and how they are. I do hope that this holds up quite well. I mean, I don't use it so often that there are any like wear and tear in the corners or anything like that, but I mean, I could see that potentially happening. I do like the zipper closure, which is really why I wanted it, but in hindsight, if it was leather lined like the Anjou, I think it would increase the points, the pro points on this a lot more. Now, similarly, this is also canvas lined. This doesn't bother me as much because it's much smaller, and there are different sections to this Plumet wallet on chain. And although this can get dirty easily as well, it's the same canvas material as this. I guess because it's small enough that, you know, there's only so much you can put in it, so there's only so much that can make it dirty. But so far, so good. I mean, you will have that risk of getting this light interior dirty no matter what. I'm not as bothered because, like I said, it's smaller, it's more compact. That noise factor isn't quite there because when you're using it, you're using it. There's not much you can really maneuver inside the bag, and it has somewhat of a structure to it because of all the different sections. I did notice now that when I close the bag, it sort of makes this fold on top. So you see a line over here. I guess it's okay because, you know, I'm using the bag, I'm enjoying it, I'm getting my cost per wear down, but you can see here, this kind of fold already is starting to set. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the way I use it, when I carry it cross body and it's close to my body, and sometimes I sling it to the side and my arm can maybe squish it in. Maybe it's because of that, but nevertheless, it's not like it's cracking or anything, so I think it will hold up. But this is sort of my complaint about the canvas interior and for these two bags. So I don't know why they do that. Like it would have just been nice to have it leather lined, especially for this one, because I know the Anjou has a bigger version, and I think that's leather lined as well. I'm not sure because this is the mini size. If you have the bigger version, I wonder if that's leather lined. I never thought about that point. But oh, one last pro that I find for all these bags is the coated canvas feature of it. So if you're caught in the rain, I'm not saying when it's pouring rain, but if it's a light drizzle or even if it's snowing a little bit, you can easily wipe this clean, and you can take like a cloth or anything and just wipe it. It's not a problem. I wouldn't be caught in the rain with it because you do have leather pieces here, over here as well, and you don't want to get that ruined. But in general, it is very scratch resistant. I'm not saying you can take a knife and cut it through, but you know, if your nails get to it or if you bump into like a shopping cart, it should be okay. So in terms of that, it's very carefree, which I do like. I don't want to have to baby my bags and really be super, super careful of, you know, where I go, when I'm using it. I want to be able to use my things whenever I feel like it. Despite the weather, of course, certain weather conditions, you will use the you know, alternative options, because it makes sense. So I hope you found this helpful. If you resonate with any of these things, I would love to hear your comments down below. Thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave me a comment there as well. I'd love to have a chat with you. Stay happy and healthy, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.